Hey guys, welcome to the CrafTangles YouTube channel. I'm Nandini here. I'm here today with 3 new cards using some of the beautiful designer element packs by CrafTangles. These pre-printed sheets of paper are a lot of fun to work with, and I had a great time combining them with different stencils to create beautiful cards. This is the first time I used these designer papers and I had a lot of fun using them. So let's get started. First, I have the vertical A2 size notelets in plain white. Each pack contains 10 pieces of top folding card bases and coordinating envelopes. Next is the Everyday Sentiments 1 set. This is a pack containing 2 A5 sheets of white specialty paper printed with foiled sentiments in gold. I have a selection of stencils that I will use to create my backgrounds. And finally, I have one of the beautiful element packs by CrafTangles. These come in a variety of themes. I'm using the Colorful Flowers 1 pack today. Each pack has 3 A4 sized 300 GSM sheets, and each sheet has a variety of images. The printing is very high quality and the images are gorgeous. I will begin by selecting some of the images and fussy cutting them with sharp scissors. I prefer to start by cutting apart individual images. I like to leave a small white border around the image when I fussy cut. This of course is a personal preference. The trick to fussy cutting is to go slow. I also prefer to move the paper instead of the scissors when I am cutting. I feel this gives me more control and neater edges. I have fussy cut a whole bunch of flowers and leaves. I also fussy cut one of the clusters for a card today. I found my small guillotine cutter most convenient for cutting the narrow sentiment strips. If you don't have one, you can always use a steel ruler and a cutter. Just remember to align the paper before cutting. I decided to use warm colors for my first card. I will begin with the yellow dye ink. I have masked off the top of the card base with washi tape and I am inking the entire paper with a large blending brush. Next, I am using the diagonal plaid stencil. I like to use some washi tape to create a hinge on one side of the stencil. This helps me lift the stencil while inking and check on my progress. I'm adding a little orange to darken the yellow as I feel it is too light. Now that the background is ready, I'm bringing in the flower cluster and the sentiment strip. I'm applying glue to the center of the fussy cut image as I want to use the natural tendency of the thick paper to curl. This adds some depth and interest to an otherwise flat image. To make my sentiment strip pop up a bit, I glued 3 narrow strips of scrap paper behind my sentiment. To finish, I added a few tiny gold and pink sequins around the sentiment. A small trick to placing tiny embellishments is to keep a toothpick handy. Just dip the tip of the toothpick in the glue and use it to pick up any small thing. If the glue dries off, simply dip it again in the glue. I'm also adding smaller bits of layered strips behind the parts of image that I felt needed some extra support. You can always use small pieces of foam tape to do this. And with this, our first card is ready. For my second card, I decided to create a background using the Circles masking stencils. This is a great set of basic stencils and masks with various sizes of circles. CrafTangles also has these sets in squares, rectangles, ovals, hearts and stars. I'm using a light blue dye ink to do the inking and adding more ink towards the center. I'm also taking care to ensure that some of the circles are off the edge. Now I'm adding some smaller circles so that the white spaces are filled up. I decided to ink in a single color, but you can use multiple colors to create a bolder background. You can also use watercolors, paints, etc. for the coloring. To add more color to the background, I diluted the blue ink with water and used a small brush to add some splatters. Since the card bases by CrafTangles use super high quality paper, they can take small amounts of water without wrapping. I leave the background to air dry for 15 minutes. You can always use the heat gun if you are in a hurry. I have already added small bits of foam tape to the back of my sentiment strip. I'm first adding it to my card base over one of the blue circles so that I can arrange rest of the elements around it. I have selected a small bunch of flowers and leaves from my fussy cut images. I'm first placing the flowers on the card base. Once I'm happy with the arrangement, I will tuck the leaves under the flowers. I prefer to use liquid glue as it gives me time to make small changes in my placement of elements. Once everything is in place and glued down, I like to use my large scissors to trim off any pieces hanging off the edge. I also like to save the larger pieces and add them to the background to fill up some of the empty spaces around the edges. To finish, I'm adding some half pearls to the flower centers. And with that, our second card is finished. For my final card, I'm using the barcode stencil. This is a 6 by 6 inch stencil and can be used vertically as well as horizontally. I'm using yellow and orange dye inks to create my background. This is straight up inking and goes very fast. Once my background is done, the first step is to glue the sentiment strip to the card base. The horizontal lines of the background make it super easy to align the sentiment strip. I decided to use 2 of the large red flowers and 2 sprigs of leaves for my card. One problem is that this set does not have any stems. That is easily remedied though. I simply found a piece of dark brown paper in my stash and cut it into 2 stems. I'm gluing the stems into place first, followed by the flowers. Once the stems and flowers are in place, it is easy to arrange the leaves. I decided to add some pearls to the flower centers in this card too. Once the card was finished, I realized that it would not fit into the coordinating envelope as the leaves were hanging off the edge on one side and I really didn't want to trim them. The easiest solution is to trim off 1/4 inch of the other side of the card. I used my large guillotine cutter for this as I didn't want to take a chance of ruining my card at the last minute. And with that, our third and final card is ready. I hope you enjoyed today's video and will try these techniques. Do try the CrafTangles Elements Packs. They are very high quality and great to work with. They can be used in cards, scrapbooks, albums, tags, etc. You can check the description below for links to all the CrafTangles products I used today. I also have more videos in the pipeline using these wonderful packs. Do you have any specific techniques you would like me to cover in my videos? Please do let me know in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell icon to get regular alerts. Bye and take care.